Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From Palestinian schools in Qatar, I'm Ms. Fatima Muhammad Iqbal. Today we are going to start unit number 9, Once Upon a Time, period number 2. Do you believe in fairy tales? All of us have gone through at least one of them in our lifetime. Sometimes we believe them, and sometimes we just ignore them. In our childhood, we read so many stories about fairies, about dragons, about superheroes. And until now, we watch those stories. So believe in magic and you will find it. Do you believe in magic? He asked. I am magic, she replied. My soul has wings, and my spirit can climb mountains. There is no dream my heart cannot chase. So, when you believe in fairy tales, you imagine something which is out of the box. Your imagination improves, so does your productivity. You dream big and you love to achieve your dreams. Fairy tales give us confidence that nothing is impossible. Now look at this picture. Here in this picture, we can easily say that a hero is fighting with a dragon. Now, this is all about imagination, but these imaginations give us wings. See, fairy tales are more than true. Not because they tell us that dragons exist, but because they tell us that dragons can be beaten. See, fairy tales make us believe in impossible. Like we say that impossible is not impossible. Impossible itself is I am possible. So I ask my students to imagine things which are out of the box, which give you wings and which let you fly in your imagination. Let's read the story. Highly intelligent stories. Some people worry that folk tales and fairy stories encourage children to believe things that cannot happen in the real world. The highly praised children's writer, Gillian Paulson, couldn't disagree more. Stories, she says, help to develop a child's imagination. One of the main points of these stories, she explained, is that they do not happen in the real world. They refers to the stories. Once children have visited the other world, stories describe they are never quite the same. She means that these stories enable children to visit other worlds, to leave this world and be a part of some other worlds. They learn to question the world they see around them and perhaps to change it. They learn to question the world they see around them. It means that they figure out the differences. They figure out the things which are not similar. So they question them and they evaluate something wrong and maybe they will change it. Why not? These fairy stories, these fairy tales give students hope, courage, motivation, positive energy to change their world and be a better person. Yes, dear students, she is not alone in this opinion. The great scientist Albert Einstein once said, If you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. If you want them to be more intelligent, read them more fairy tales. See, a great quote by a great scientist, Albert Einstein. He, being a scientist, also believed the importance of fairy tales. He said that if you want your children to be intelligent, read them fairy tales. More intelligent, more fairy tales. Because it increases the imaginative power of your children. It makes them expect the most unexpected thing. Research has shown that children who grew up hearing and later reading stories are much more likely to get a good exam result, not just in language, but also in maths and science. What does it mean? When we read some language stories, for example, in Arabic, in English, we increase our vocabulary, we improve our grammar, we improve our word bank, we consult dictionaries to know more and more definitions. This is helping me in language. Similarly, in maths and science, we can also improve our imagination. We can evaluate different case studies in maths and science. Why? Because those fairy tales are not only fairy tales, they are intelligent stories. Let's move on. In this period, we do not have difficult words definition in exercises, we just have references. For example, here, the first reference is that they don't happen in the real world. They refers to stories. They learn to question the world they see around them and perhaps to change it. What will they change? The world around them. In the next slide, we have more text. Gillian Paulson thinks the reason why children love fairy tales is quite simple. They just want to, so they refers to children. They just want to know what happens next. Folk tales or fairy stories are especially good for this because they do not normally have anything extra to get in the way. You don't need to know what the character is feeling or thinking, just what they do next. It means that actions are more important. So you can start your story with something like this. Once upon a time, there was a poor old woman who lived in a forest with her son. And that's it. You don't need to say where the forest was or why they were poor. See, the details are not about something which is boring. No. The fairy story will make you more and more interested and let you plunge in that story. So, unnecessary details which are not relevant are not included in fairy tales. That's why they are very, very interesting to young children. They don't even need to have names. What did they do? That's the only important part. So, in fairy tales, children are interested in their actions. Stories then are good for children first by hearing them refers to stories, and later by reading them independently. We learn that language is for sharing ideas and having fun. But Gillian has a warning for parents and teachers. This is important, dear students. Don't tell them that it's good for them. And certainly don't encourage them to read books that you think they should. There is no quicker way to make them not want to read. Here I will explain it to you in very simple words. Here, the writer means that do not encourage your children to read a specific topic which you like being a parent. Let them choose. Let them choose their interest. You know, they should go and chase their interesting books, not the one you suggested. See, this is the opinion of the writer. You may agree, you may disagree, it's up to you. But the writer is saying that give your children a free hand. Let your children choose what they want to choose in order to improve and enhance their imagination. Let's go to the exercises, and this exercise is about the text that we already took. You have to mention true or false, and if it is true, it's okay, but for the false statement, I noted down the sentences. Gillian Paulson shares people's concern that folk tales are not realistic. False. Gillian Paulson couldn't disagree more. This is the sentence that makes the writer think about it. She thinks stories only have a small effect on children. Not really. Once children have visited the other world stories described, they are never quite the same. So the effect is immense. Stories teach children to enjoy language. True. In these stories, action and events are more important than ideas and events. True. Children learn correct grammar from reading stories. Very true. Parents should recommend good books for their children to read. According to the writer, no. And certainly don't encourage them to read books that you think they should. So the writer believes in free hand, that let your children go to the library and choose their interesting stories. Don't recommend anything. Here we will go to the references that I have already explained. They refers to stories, it, the world around them, they, children, and then stories. This is a bit discussion which we did in our class about your views on this topic. Folk tales and fairy stories are just for old people and children, but do you think being a teenager? So think about it, discuss these ideas, stay home, stay safe, and good luck.